And we're back. Another episode of the Victory Degree Podcast. John Abraham, welcome to the pod, my man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad you reached out, Nick. The funny thing is, my ex-girlfriend name was Nick, and it's spelled the same way. So I was like, "What is she calling me for?" I was like, "Oh, it's okay, never mind." I was like, "Oh Lord, what does she hit me up for?" I'm like, "She never hits me up. We ain't talked in years." I was like, "What?" I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome. So during this entire podcast, you're gonna be thinking about her, huh?
No, no, no. It was just funny, man. That was a good quinky dink.
John, I mean, we were kind of talking about it before we started. I read a recent article from The Athletic that Dan Pompei wrote. I love Dan's work. I love his writing. He did a feature article on you, highlighting your journey as you came up through South Carolina, obviously the NFL, your success in the NFL, and then also some some more I guess troubling times that you had as well. But I just think in totality, like your journey, the things that you had to fight through, your experience, I mean, I read the article and I came away just being super impressed with how you're able to handle all of it and fight through the adversity and come out. And that's why I hit you up on Instagram. I was like, dude, I mean, you would be perfect, not only for my pod and for my audience, but for my curiosity, just understanding kind of how you overcame everything and made it out on the other side. But for people who are not familiar with your story or your journey, maybe they saw you on the football field. Maybe they were a Jets fan or a Falcons fan, or maybe they know you because you have 133 and a half sacks. Why do you think people should stop and listen to what you have to say?
I don't think people should. I mean, if you want to, you can. But I think if you know me already, or if you're interested in an older guy who's been through all the stuff, who's like came from a small town, straight from a small town to a college, the University of South Carolina, going to New York and coming to Atlanta, and actually coming from a town that my high school was like 900 people, the whole town, and seeing the adversity and seeing the positives that you can do. Like my story is big just because, and I had to literally look back at how I grew up and look back where I am now and understand that I've done a lot in life. I've done a lot more than people will expect, and especially because of where I came from and what I've done. Sometimes when you're living life, you don't realize how amazing of some things you did, because when you're living your life, you're literally living your life. But now with Instagram and Facebook, now you can kind of see what people be like, oh my God, that's amazing. When you're thinking it's just like you can see somebody can post something that's so average to you or so average to them because they do it every day, but then they end up being the most spectacular thing to someone else.
Yeah, just appreciating some of the finer moments in life. It's funny you bring that up. I hit 10K followers on Instagram the other day. And, for some people that's whatever. But for me, like if you would have told me when I started this podcast, like, hey, you're going to have 10K followers on Instagram, I would have said you're crazy. Or I would have said like, wow, like I can't imagine how happy I'm going to be once I hit that milestone. And then I hit it and I was happy for like, maybe a minute, 2 minutes. And then it was like, all right, on to the next thing.
Right.
How have you learned to express more gratitude and to appreciate some of those moments where like, all right, this is a big moment, or this is something I've been working towards, or this is like, hey, I'm living out my dream, like this is what I wanted. Like how do you express more gratitude in those moments?
You start off simple, man. First of all, you got to start off that you have the possibility of doing something in life. You have the possibility of waking up. Just waking up should be a great thing that everybody really takes. I think we lack the mindset of thinking that that's a gift. We wake up in the morning, we like, what am I going to do? And you start off with a negative mindset. Your day is pretty much going to be negative whenever you have anything, because you're looking for that great thing instead of that. Oh yeah, I cooked today. I ate today. You know what? I took a shower today. I did something positive today. And it don't have to be amazing. Go do a 10-minute walk. Let's say if you usually do 5, do 10. If you do 10,000 steps, just like you got 10,000 subscribers, let's say if you got 10,001 today. It's the smallest things in life that can give you more gratitude. And when I started paying attention to like that little stuff, it's like sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I want to learn how to do this now. 10 minutes of my day. It doesn't have to be an hour. You don't have to be the best of it. It's going to be millions of people probably trying to do the same thing. All right. And you got to understand that as much as you try not to be, you are the lead character in your movie. Like you are the lead character. So however you feel, that is your world. Like you can walk around being negative because this person feels this way about you, or this you think this person feels this way about you. But at the end of the day, if you have a positive mindset, if you're feeling happy, nobody else can be like happy at all. But if you pay attention to that, let's say if something amazing happens to you right now, you're like, oh my God, I just won $1 billion. You're super crunk. But you gotta understand all the people are like mad as so what's the point of walking around miserable when you really don't have to be? It's really a mindset. Like if you think about like DBT, dialectical behavioral and cognitive behavior, it talks about working with that negative stuff that you're thinking. Like we make ourselves more negative than we want to. And a lot of self-care too, man. Self-care is whether it's shaving, whether it's, like I said, what big for me back in the day was just making sure I took a shower every day, brushing my teeth. And these are small things that we think that is just nothing because we do it so much daily. But when you start seeing it as there are a lot of people that have other people doing it for them. There are people that can forget things like that. You tend to understand, and you tend to feel more connected to the real world.
I have a Conor McGregor quote for you. This is back when he was at his peak. He said, "At the end of the day, you gotta feel some way. So why not feel unbeatable? Why not feel untouchable?"
Exactly.
And I think it speaks to kind of what you were alluding to, and paraphrasing here, but essentially mindset is a choice. And I've heard that over and over again. And I've had athletes on the podcast come on and say, mindset is a choice. And at first I didn't believe it. I was like, all right, dude, like, when I'm down, like I'm down like that, and for the longest time, like I just accepted it. I'm like, all right, today's a shitty day. And I would just go about my day and it would be bad. It would be shitty. And negative thoughts, all the things that you were talking about. And then I started thinking, I was like, you know what? If I'm choosing, like, if I can be sad and if I can be down, then that also means that I can be happy and I can, look at the positive things in life. And for me, it was so freeing because it was like, oh shit, like I can just choose to be happy. Like I could sit here, record this podcast with you, and I could be like, oh, this podcast can be terrible. John's not going to enjoy his time. My audience isn't going to enjoy our conversation. And that could be a limiting belief, and I could choose to believe that, and then I'll probably do worse because I have all these negative thoughts.
Right.
Or I could choose to believe that, hey, this is gonna be a great episode. I can't wait to talk to John. I know my audience is gonna love his journey, and then that's gonna make me be better at the interview and as a podcaster versus if I choose to be negative. And so I don't know, man, just that idea that you can choose to be happy and choose to be positive was super freeing for me.
And you don't have to judge what you do. Just know you did it. I think that's one of the big things I had to learn. Like I can go do this TV show. I can do this. Like when it came to me trying to be a commentator or trying to do certain things, talking on TV or even doing podcasts, I'm like, man, nobody's going to watch. Nobody's going to do this. Everybody's going to hate me. I'm like, well, F it, just do it. I mean, and I had to go all the way back to when I started playing football. When I played football from a small town, I always felt, and the whole time I played football, I always thought I was like the worst person on the team. So I always felt like I had to work harder. And I think that's a good mentality to a certain extent, but also you can't beat yourself up because giving effort is 100% better than not doing it at all. So like I said, like seeing you reaching out to me, the old me would have been like, nah, I ain't talking to this guy. I don't feel like, it's going to be terrible. I don't care if it's bad. How am I going to learn if I don't try? How am I going to get better at speaking? How am I going to do everything? I've lost so many football games. And I tell people this is a good instinct of like, when you think about wins and losses in life, I had 133 and a half sacks. I probably played 70,000 plays. So if you look at the number, like, dude, you lost a lot. You didn't achieve what you wanted a long time, but all that got you to where you are now. So it's all a building stone. If you look at the old movies of Jim Carrey, how he started just there. You look at the old movies of Denzel Washington. You look at Michael B. Jordan, old movies, and you look at them now. You see the growth. Like every movie wasn't a blockbuster, but it was a training day for you. So I see every day the same way. Sometimes, like yesterday, I had an effort day. The effort day for me is everything's positive. I don't care if somebody says something negative to you. I don't care if this, but this is my effort day. I supposed to talk to my therapist. I told my therapist, I said, look, it's my effort day. So today I'm not doing anything that I know that's going to trigger me. So, but if I get triggered by anything else, I'm just going to walk through it like it's a good day. You know, if I don't go to bed on time, if I go to bed on time, if I eat something that I don't want to eat, today is one of the effort days. Today is one of the days I'm walking on cloud nine. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to be a good day. And so I label it as a good day. Whether I got negative stuff coming on me that day, in my mind, I'm like, this is going off as one of those days. So I don't have to overreact. Anything going on, John, you staying at 50. You're not going down here. You're not going up here. It's just going to be one of those days. So I call it my little effort day. So I had one of those yesterday. And I think that a lot more people should be suggestive in that, especially when you're going through a lot of negative stuff that really isn't negative stuff, because your mind can make stuff negative that really probably can help you.
Roger Federer had this great commencement speech. I'm forgetting the college, but in the speech, he says, you know, I'm widely regarded as one of the greatest tennis players of all time. He's won 20 Grand Slams. And he was like, but I've lost, like, if you actually count it, like, he lost like 49% of his points or something crazy like that. So when you think about it, like, this guy who's won at every level, who has won, you know, third most Grand Slams in the history of tennis, lost almost half of his points. And I was reminded of that when you said, hey, I had 70,000 plays, you know, and I got 133 and a half sacks. There were a lot of plays where, I didn't do anything. Like, I was, and so, like, having that mindset of like, yes, I didn't get a sack in every play. Yes, maybe I didn't rush the quarterback in every play, but God damn it, like, I gave it my best.
Right.
And it's interesting, like, even with this podcast, like, I encourage everyone to go back and look at like my first 5 episodes, my first 10 episodes. Like, I was nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh God, like, what questions do I ask? Like, it was low-key a disaster. Now I feel like I'm I'm better. And I feel like I'm getting better. And that's all you can ask for, like, progress, get better, become better. Like, perfection is not going to happen overnight. So I think I love that point that you made. Like, effort is enough. Be hard on yourself, expect a lot, but understand that if you give effort, sometimes that's all you need to do.
Exactly. Doing what you love, is really not work. You're doing something that you like. You do stuff that excites you, and let's say if you get into something that's not exciting, it's okay to move on. Like, it's not like you failed at the situation. Like, I think the only time I see is a failure now if I don't say anything. Like, let's say if I like even with you, like I'm saying, if I would have been like, nah, I ain't gonna do this. Next day, I'd have been like, man, I should have did it. I could have got some good reps, talking to him, and we could have got some good back and forth going. Like I said, I want to show more of the positive in light of what I went through in football. Because I think a lot of my stories have been just, oh my God, instead of like, I had a lot of fun in the NFL. I had a lot of fun in life, period. So I want to, like, curb that. And I think you coming at me that way helped me, like, okay, dude, this could be the start. This could be the first day of you trying.
Let's talk about some of those positive moments. I do want to get to like your childhood, just in the sense of like understanding, kind of how you grew up. You mentioned small town, all that stuff, just so the audience has kind of a picture of who's sitting here in front of them today. But before we get to that, I do want to ask, you talk about some of the positive moments in the NFL, having fun. Are there any moments that stick out? Like, when you look back on your career, is there a moment or 2 or 3 that you're like, damn, that was a lot of fun?
I would say the biggest moment was probably being drafted, and I think most guys will pinpoint that moment. Uh, it's just one of those moments now looking back. Like, I always tell myself I would never tell the person when I was younger this, or this, but I would tell myself when I got drafted, keep the same mentality you had in college. Because, I really saw it as a profession more in college than when I got there. When I got to where I wanted to be, it's like I finally got a chance to relax. Because one thing about me is how I grew up. We grew up as adults, as kids. Like, kids, I had a job from like 5 or 6 working with my mom. Then, 11, I worked in a restaurant. And as I got older, it was always like trying to be the man of the house, trying to be the man of the house, trying to be the man of the house. And then when I finally got to the NFL, it was like the first time I really, really, truly got to just be like, I made it. And I think Jameis Winston said this, and this is the perfect thing. I didn't dream big enough. I didn't know that I would, like, at the end of my career, I didn't know there was a possibility that I could be a Hall of Famer. I knew I was going to be a good player. I always felt like I was going to be a good player, but to know I could have done a lot more if I would have put more of myself into the game. But like the first few years in the league, like when I was in New York, it was just really just exhaling. Like the big thing in New York for me was just exhaling. Like, look, I can pay these, and then but I took on a lot. I was trying to take on my whole family. I was trying to pay for this, pay for my sister's house, paying for my mom's house, paying for my house, paying for my homeboy's house. So I didn't really get to relax again until I got to Atlanta, and that's when I got to really relax. I still was trying to do the same thing, but I got a little more money. I got closer to home, and it just felt so good. I can say a lot of big moments. Being on the team with Curtis Martin when he broke records, when he broke the record of having like 10 years straight of 1,000 yards. I was on that team. I got to be there in the locker room. Didn't know how significant it was because I was still young. After your career is over, you see all that stuff. Being there when Julio Jones got drafted, when Matt Ryan got drafted. Matt Ryan and Julio are probably two of the compared to I had Tony Gonzalez, I had Roddy White, I had I had Vinny Testaverde, I had Lavernius Cole, Sean Ellis, I had Chad Pennington, and I'm like, I got to play with Ty Law, so it's like so many names and so many people that now looking back, that's the stuff I should talk about when I'm talking about football. I have so many good memories, Chad coming in, just being a young quarterback, but having that country swag and just being able to talk to everybody. Him and Coles just connecting so quick. And, me and Coles used to always hang out. We was like best friends. Me, Cole, Sean, we were like the three amigos when we got to New York. So many good stories, man. So many stories I can't even tell now because it's probably not PG for anything. But we have like so many good stories. Like I tell everybody, if we had Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff back in the day, man, he's probably one of the funniest guys you ever meet. Like Lavernius is one of the just natural funny. When you seen Nick Manigault just passed away, and he has that. When everybody talks about Nick, they talk about how great he was and how he was. That's how Lavernius is when he walks in the room. When he walks in the room, it only take you about 5 minutes. You're gonna be in love with him. It's just like Lavernius. Oh my God, I love this guy, and that's just how he is. You just want to take care of the dude and stuff like that. So for me, the experiences are so many. Like getting to play with Jonathan Babineau. The first time I met Jonathan Babineau, he was just like, man, I had your jersey in college. And, like for me, it's like, wow, I made an impact, so things like that. And being able to play with him and also coach him and help him be a better player. And all this stuff is what I'm trying to lean on now. Because I think before, and I think I seen someone talking about it, it was like after football was gone, it was just like a bad breakup. So for me, I took it hard because all the injuries I had, all I can think about is what I didn't do. And then it took away from what I did do. Like having 16 and a half sacks in 2008, didn't make the Pro Bowl, but hell, you had 16 and a half, you were third in the league. Check mark. I mean, you were behind like Joey Porter and DeMarcus Ware. Like, that is amazing. Like, and so it's the positive that I got to start plucking out. I got to start plucking at them positives, so also I can walk around in a more positive manner. When I see people and people say, "Hey, you was a great player," I don't have to say, "Well, I tried." I can say thank you now. I can say I appreciate it, because I literally had to go watch film on myself because I couldn't remember a lot of the plays. And I'm watching like, man, I was having fun out there. Why am I taking it so serious now that my career was so bad? You had a good career. If you don't make the Hall of Fame, that doesn't mean you weren't a great player. I mean, you played great. You left your impact on teams. You look at the numbers, you'll see John Abraham name here. I think I'm fourth all time with the Jets, and I ain't played there. I only played 6 years there. I think I'm like second all time with the Falcons. I only played like 7 years here. So you got to see the impact that you had as a player. My name will always come up with these teams because of the impact I made. So I got to feel good about that. My name will always be dropped when they talk about an influential pass rusher at that time. So I got to feel good about that.
You mentioned something, the financial pressures, like when you got into the league and you started making money. If you read some of the stats, it's like I'm gonna butcher the stat, but basically a lot of NFL players are financially under pressure or go broke, and so it's a widely talked about topic. But I think a lot of fans don't because like normally the response I see on Twitter and on YouTube and stuff is like fans are like, these guys are making millions. Like, how are they going broke? Like, what are they spending their money on? So I think there's a disconnect between like what fans see and then what you as players experience. And obviously like everyone on an individual basis is different, but if you could kind of just touch on just your experience with money, kind of how you handled it, and then some of the financial pressures that maybe a lot of fans don't see.
Well, first of all, I didn't really care about the money when I got in the league because I didn't know. I thought $1 million was you're set for life because everybody harped upon you're gonna make a million, you'll get a million, you're gonna make a million. So I thought like you get a million, but they don't tell you about the roaches. They don't tell you about the rats. They don't tell you about the new family members. They don't tell you about people you trust that'll steal from you. That's the part of the thing that they don't see. So when people say, and I told somebody this, and this is like the best logic I can say. They always say that person get broke. Okay, when I got drafted, we got drafted. We made it. When I went broke, you got broke. You messed up. None of them be like, oh, we messed up. We should have been on your side. We should have showed you how to do this. We shouldn't have asked you for money here. We shouldn't have put so much burden on this one guy at 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old. Go back to me, you're 22, bro, and think about somebody gave you that kind of money and you have a mom that's making $13,000 a year. You have a sister that has 3 kids and she doesn't have a man in the house. You have a brother that you want to take up. You have all this family, and all you know is people. So you did it. You made it. And that was the book back in the day. The book back in the day, oh, you got to keep it real. And they always put in your head when you're doing something, oh, now you can take care of your family. Like, but I don't really have a family yet because family is what come out me, not what I came out of. And that's what people don't understand. Like my family are my kids now. I have 4 daughters. So that is my family. I shouldn't have to reach back to help you. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to be doing this and doing this. Some people have the extensive of family that are good at money or know how to handle stuff. They have a good job. They do their own thing. And some of us don't. Some of us have family that, we did this together, da, 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 I threw the ball to you when you was 10, so it's a lot of stuff. Like, and also when you're playing, not saying all guys, some of us are kind of like, I got to worry about what's on the field. I can't worry about who's taking care of my money. He should be okay with this. This person should be okay with this. And then you'll have somebody managing you or doing some stuff that you don't know about. And then after your career is over with, you have to start picking back up because, okay, let's say if you got a wife, or let's say if you got certain people that used to live a certain way and they don't want to stop living that way. But you're like, we need to do this. It takes a lot of humbling after football, especially when you have an injury and it's very quick. You don't know what's going on. You have to deal with the depression. You have to deal with, how am I going to pay for this? It's different when you have checks coming in. You can sit there and save all the money you want and think you can live like this. You might not know about property taxes. You might not know about, the financing of your house. You might not know because the person that probably handled it wasn't telling you all this, because a lot of people don't set you up for after football. They set you up so they can keep their job, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to tell him that he can do this because he ain't going to need me. Oh, I got to pay his bills, so I got to make sure all his bills paid, but I don't got to tell him about this because I don't want to worry about it. So a lot of people try to protect you, but they trying to protect their investment, which is their job. So a lot of times you don't have that. And then some people, they have escape plans. I don't care. I'm gonna let him spend whatever he want, and I'm just gonna take this little bit out, and I'll be good. It's so many diverse ways that people can be got, and a lot of times, if you look at guys that have made bad investments, a lot of us didn't even have to invest in stuff. We invested because we were trying to help people out, or people had us so scared that we were going to go broke that we'll take $1 million, $2 million and borrow money that we really didn't have to borrow. And if you just adjust how you live, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million will be enough for you to live the rest of your life. But you have to make that adjustment. Now, but you get so used to being, I want this, instead of being comfortable. Like, you have to normalize yourself after you get done with football. You really do.
I saw the Cam Scatterbo injury this past weekend, where he catches the ball, comes down, and his ankle is. I would say go watch it, but I can't even say that because it's gruesome, right? So for those who have seen it, we know how bad it is. But that reminded me, like, the NFL is really play to play. It's like you never know what's going to happen on the next. You could have your ankle twisted the complete wrong way, like Cam did, just catching a ball, like not even doing anything too crazy. And I know, like, throughout your career, you had some groin injuries, you had injuries of your own that you had to deal deal with. You just alluded to it a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about the stress of going through an injury, especially when you consider the financial side of things, like you just mentioned, and not knowing, like, hey, is this the injury that derails my career and maybe ends my career? Maybe I'm just never the same player after. Like, how do you process that as a player?
I don't think I ever have. I think I just lived with it. I think I lived with it as always being my crutch. You know, like certain people have things that they can't heal about themselves. Like I think my whole life I would go with a what if in my mind, but I have to live with it. You know, like people have diabetes, people have certain things that they're, you know, born with. And after my first injury, after I kept getting injured, like every game I would go out there and be like, it's my last, might be my last game. Let me go out here and play hard. Might be my last game. I had to learn how to practice different. I had to learn how to do certain things. I had to learn that, you know, taking care of my body is very important. And sometimes it took away from things I was doing because in my mind I would think I could do more, but I don't want to push it and then get hurt again. And I'll tell any athlete, just go out there and play, man. Don't think about that. Don't worry about it, because it took away from like some of my experience with football. And whether people know it or not, like I see Michael Parsons, I see these guys out here running around and, you know, not being truly injured and missing a lot of time, because I missed like 40 some games playing, and to say that you're almost a Hall of Famer and you miss 40 games, like if I had those 40 games, this wouldn't have been an issue we was talking about. You know, being 3 all time and caused fumbles could have easily been number one easily. Being in the top 5 of sacks could have been easy, 40 more games. You know what I'm saying? I average around 70% of sacks in like my games. So you 7 times that. So I could have had another 30 some sacks or something like that. So it's all the stuff you think about. But the only thing about injury, man, just know you're working on it every day. You have to work on it every day, especially if you had something like I had. Mine was like chronic almost.
It has to be pretty draining though. Like whenever you step onto a football field, you're thinking, what if this is my last game? Like I know you said you just lived with it, but what does that actually look like?
Uh, a lot of treatment, a lot of therapy, a lot of when people are when people are like having their off season, you know, doing certain things. I used to go to Canada when I first got to and I went to a place with Nico Berg to make sure I do that. Also, when I was in Atlanta, I used to go down to Pete Bomarito to work out down there so they can do work on my ab, work on my groin, make sure that I'm okay for next year. I actually turned down like 800,000 workout bonus in Atlanta just to work out in Miami because I was so used to doing it with Nico. I like people don't understand, like people talk about how they love the coaches. My coaches were the trainers. I had to always be responsible to them. I had to always talk to them, always tell them how I'm feeling. As many times as I got shot, like I think about me taking all these shots into the groin, shots to the shoulders, and things that I can play. Even a shot in my thumb at one point just to play the game. And you know, would I do it again? Sure, I sure would. But also, I think about like how healthy was some of that stuff I did. Like how was I really being kind to myself? But I was so into not missing a game. If I could barely get on the field, I want to get on the field. So it was just like maybe if you took one day off, you might be okay or one game off, you might be all right. But it was like I can't miss any more games. Like the rest of my career was just like I can't miss any more games. And even when I get a small injury or something like knick-knack, it would just take me back to, oh man, here we go again, here we go again. So it was a tough situation for me, but it was like looking back, I was a very resilient person. I was a more resilient person, and I wish I get more credit for that. Like I don't get a lot of credit for the resilience I came back for those groin injuries and broken thumb, playing with a broken thumb at one time. Coming back from an LCL and just so much stuff that I came back from. But it seemed like people just like, oh, he wasn't tough. I'm like, I never got up for return player of the year or comeback player of the year. But I mean, I missed like whole season and came back the next year and like made the Pro Bowl a couple times. So it was different. It was different. But like I think when you get a moniker on you, or some people feel like this is him. Like they be like, oh, John Abraham couldn't play the run. The rest of your career, they swear out you can't play the run. They don't look at tape. They just ride out with it. Oh, he can't make a catch in this. Oh, they'll just start riding out with stuff. But I wish people would have paid more attention to how I played and what I played with and through.
Did the outside noise bother you while you were playing?
Yes, it did. I'm from a small town, so we're used to hearing everything. So, and I think that the thing for me is that it was so much fake stuff that, and like I said, now you have Instagram and you have stuff that you talk about. So New York would make a story and people would just ride with it. And players back then we couldn't say we couldn't defend ourselves. It was more like you defend yourself, oh, he's not a team player. He's worrying about what he's doing. He's worrying about the wrong stuff compared to being like, oh, we hear his side. I let a lot of stuff that they were saying I just swept under the rug and people just giving me how I was a bad guy, I was a bad player. I didn't care about the team. The only thing I care about myself. I'm like, if that was that way, I wouldn't be playing. Like I literally would not even be playing if I just worried myself. I played with my hand casted up my whole career in New York. Like because I kept jamming my fingers because they was trying to get me to play the run better. So the whole time I was in there, I played with cast because I kept breaking my fingers. I kept like just jamming my fingers. And I ended up playing the rest of my career there. Then I came to Atlanta there, and I found a way to take my fingers so I didn't have to wear them cast anymore. So it's all this stuff that you don't give people credit for. I practiced my ass off the whole time I was in New York. I used to practice like I played, even though I knew I had the groin stuff going on. I practiced like it was Sunday. Never get any credit for that. But some of my teammates will, like my teammates, and I ran into one of my old coaches. Yes, they do. But once they get that aspect of this is this guy, they will make a whole, I guess, agenda just for this guy because it fits.
How would you describe the physicality of football?
It's as physical as you want it to be. It's according to what kind of player you want to be. If you don't want to be a physical guy, when I got older, like I think when I first got in the game, it was all about trying to knock the track. Like I just wanted to hit people hard. I wanted to, give people the work. Then I got older and I was like, you're fast, you're quick, you can move good. And like when I said I see the players now, you see the guys like, because I was considered a tweener when I came up. I was 6'4", 245. That's a big guy. But I was considered a tweener. And I wanted to do more like shape moves. I wanted to dance on the field. I wanted to, because I'm like, what's the point of me hitting this big dude every day when I know I can outrun him? I can set him up for a move. And if you watch the NFL now, it's progressed to that. So now you see these guys like Michael Parsons. I'm not saying he doesn't use his strength, but you see him doing the inside step, coming back out. You see him doing spin moves. You see him doing all this stuff that is the creativity of football. That's what I love now. The creation of the moves, the different stuff, the path to least resistance is what I loved about the game. Sure, I love getting a big hit, but when I'm playing my sport, position I play, I just want to make sure nobody didn't touch me. And I get to the guy for anybody else. So I love how the game is played now. I watch how these guys are getting paid, and I watch how they're respecting the defensive end position now. Just see, what his name, Hutchinson just got the big deal. You've seen Parsons get the big deal, and it's flattering to me. It's just like, man, if I could have played now, because when I got in the league, it was like they were trying to make me a defensive end. I couldn't just go out and just play like I wanted to play. I had to be a defensive end in a 4-3 defense, and it kind of beat me up a lot.
Is sacking the quarterback the best feeling in the world? Like if you had top 5 best feelings in the world, where does sacking the quarterback rank on that?
The love of my kids is probably number one, and I like the older you get, the more you'll understand it. And when you have a child and you're able to do things for them, you're able to put them in places that you couldn't be in. You're able to see them smile. When my daughters text me, it's just like the euphoria is something that I always love. Sacks to me is probably around 4. Because like thinking back now, like if you told me when I was playing, number 1 all day, like number 1 was right there, but having stability, the mental stability I have now, that's like number 2. You know what I mean? Number 3 is like literally just being able to comprehend life. You know what I mean? But and I'll say sack was number 4. Now, if you're talking about football, sack is number 1. I don't care about no touchdowns. I don't care about none of that stuff. It's all about getting the sack because just like you on your podcast now, I might be a good person to have on here, but let's say if you get Tom Brady, that's your sack. Like I got Tom Brady. Yeah, John was cool. Like that's like me getting a tackle. Like I'm your tackle. But if you get like Tom, you get one of the, if you get somebody like that, even somebody that you're like, I see you got Gretzky in the back. If you get Gretzky on here, oh my God, you're like, hey, we're good, bro. Hey, I got, so that's kind of how sacking was. Like, I can get a pick or I can get all this other stuff and that'll be cool. And then get the excitement like this, get a touchdown, get the excitement like this. But getting that sack was just like, because that's what I worked on. That was my job. This is what people know me for. So when I did that, it was just like, just euphoria. And then I tell people, people don't understand, like, when you leave a job, you'll never do that again sometimes. Like with basketball, basketball, they still can go out and shoot around and something like that. I can't suit up no more and just go knock the trash out of somebody, for free 99 and, get the same applaud or something. You got the big 3 now. You got old retired players out there still shooting basketball. You got all kind of stuff. I'll never get that euphoria again in life.
Yeah, man, I'd argue if you suited up right now and went and tackled someone on the street, I think you'd probably end up in in jail. So a little bit different than maybe shooting a basketball.
I'm not doing the 37U. I'm not doing that kind of football. Hey,
you don't want to join a 35 and up league?
Yeah, I ain't messing with that.
I've always wondered as a fan, like I feel like, fans create these narratives, like whether it's specifically a pass rusher against a certain quarterback, or maybe they have history, or Micah Parsons going back and playing against Dallas. Like there's always these narratives that people and just sports media try to like throw out there, like, oh, Micah's gonna get up for this game because it's the Cowboys, or John's gonna get up for this game because he loves sacking this specific quarterback. Is any of that true? Like were there certain games and certain quarterbacks that like you woke up and you're like, I cannot wait to sack this guy?
Absolutely. You got to understand it's real life. And I think what we do sometimes, we see stuff as the people on TV, but we forget that this is real life situations. Like people talking trash to you on TV compared to somebody talking to you face to face trash. It's totally different. Like it's hard. I think now because I have Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff now, I can see how being a fan, you forget about these people have real lives. Like, because even I watch like Bijan and I watch these guys, I be sitting on the sideline or I be in there like doing the commentating and I'm looking like, and I think about sometimes, you used to do that. Like you literally was used to be on the field and now looking at it, I'm like, I can see the disconnection people have. Like you feel like, why does he do that? Or why does he do that? Like, do they live normal lives to us? Like, sure it's not normal to some people, but like for us, that's literally our normal life. Because people be like, well, I'll come to the game. Hey, you feel excited? I'm like, man, nah, I used to play. Like, this don't mean nothing. Oh, you ain't excited to go to a game or something? I'm like, no. I said, I hate coming there. I hate having to find a place to park. I hate having to go through the ticket booth thing. I hate to have to do all this. I said, no, this is fun. I'm like, it's cool to you. But I'm like, once you give it, and I think when we start, and I think now Instagram has made it more personalized. You see people are more like, okay, let's say, for instance, back when I was playing, me and you probably would not have been doing this. But you were able to just send a link, connect with me just like that. But back in the day, media and people were just not talking like this. It wasn't like you say, hey, John, like you might have seen me on the street, like, hey, John, can I do this? I'm like, yeah, talk to one of my people, or something like that. Or like, you're not ESPN, bro. You're not Fox. I ain't talking to you. So like, that's the different aspect that we have in life now. And I think you get to see that people are people. You don't hear about people bitching about how much money people are making anymore because you see the revenue that's coming into the owners. You see the stuff that's happening. Now we're seeing these big deals. And this is the first time like in like my generation that I've seen people are happy to see big contracts. I don't see people like, oh my God, I can't believe he got paid like that. When I was in there, it was the first thing they say, oh, he getting paid millions for this. Do you see what he's doing for the millions? Do you see what he did to get to where he can get these millions? Do you see how this guy is making $1 billion a year and this guy's only making like $1 million of it, but he's the best at his position? Now people are seeing it like I said, Hutchins just signed this deal 4 year for 180. If we would have did that back in the day, oh my God, why would you give that guy that kind of money? Now you're like, it makes sense. Yeah, he deserves that. Look at the profit thing.
I think it's definitely like you're generating a lot of revenue for the team and for the owners, right? Like you alluded to, but then B, also like how many people in the world can do what you do?
Exactly.
Like how many
Perfect.
people in the
Perfectly
world
said.
can get 133 and a half sacks in their
Perfectly
career, right?
said.
Like you had multiple years with more than 10 sacks. One year, let me see here, you had 16 and a half sacks in '08. So like, and it's like, I always have this, well, not always, but like there's certainly like the fans that look at quarterback. I mean, quarterback is like, I feel like the most prominent for this, where it's like, Patrick Mahomes gets 10 years, 500 million. All these quarterbacks get paid all this money. Now, you see other positions get paid similarly, like you mentioned, but it's like, oh, like, why are they getting paid so much? Like, why does a quarterback need to make 40 million, $50 million a year? And it's like, all right, dude, you go be a quarterback. Like,
Exactly.
be my guest. Like, go play quarterback. I have a lot of Dolphins fans in my life, but Tua is like the scapegoat for them. It's like, oh, we're paying him $50 million a year. And listen, I'm not defending Tua. I'm not saying he's like a godsend, right? Like, he's having a rough year. He's taken a beating in his career. But it's like, you go play quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Like, go do what he does. Like, there's only a handful of people in the world who can do that job. Just like there's only a handful of people in the world who could do what you did. It's a very small talent pool. So when you take into account the amount of money that you're generating for these teams and the lack of other options, the lack of talent that exists out there to do what you do, you get to this point where it's like, oh, okay, like I could see why he's making 20, 30, $40 million a year.
Right. Yeah, there's only 2,000 like NFL players at a time. And you gotta understand some of these guys playing 15, 20 years in the league now. So I guess when I was younger, and I think a lot of us felt that when we were younger, we felt like if you want to go to the NFL, you can go. I'm going to the NFL. You're a kid, you're like, oh, mom, I'm going to be. Then you get older and you start getting older. And then, like, think about it, like how many high schools, like the percentage of is less than 1% of people in college make it to the NFL. Like, so you got to pat yourself on the back. There's a lot of stats that I had to find out on my own. And the older I get, the more I realize I did something amazing in life. No matter how much money I took away from it, no matter how much stuff I did or who I touched or who I didn't touch, like, dude, you did something that's amazing in life. Like, even though it just seems so regular because you did it, but it's actually pretty effing amazing.
I got the stat here. 0.023% of high school football players make it to the NFL. Roughly 7.5 high school football players going to play college football, with only 2.6% making it to a D1 team.
Exactly. And you got to think about those numbers compared to going to the NFL too. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's even worse. You know what I mean? So it's fun now, and like thinking about it and where I came from. Yeah, it's big, man. And trying to be prideful and humble at the same time is tough. You know what I mean? It's tough sometimes because and I tell people all the time, if you're being honest, it's not like you're bragging. If you're saying, I had this, I did this, and you really did it, it's not bragging. It's only bragging if you're overextending, I could have beat him or I could have did this. No, I ain't saying all that. I'm just saying what I did in life. And so I have a lot more confidence on speaking on myself now.
You talked about those humble beginnings, and about dreaming of becoming an NFL player one day. When did that start for you? Like, when did you really think, like, all right, I can make it to the league, like I can do this?
You know what? It's so weird because I always felt like I was going to do something special. I thought I was going to be basketball. I played basketball from freshman year all the way to, and I was okay. I started getting scholarships and everything, and then I said, you know what? I always was good at football. I'm gonna try to play it. I'm trying to play again. It's my senior year. I'm gonna try to play. I said, let's see if I can at least do good in it. End up
Senior year of
being,
high school.
yes, senior year. That was my first year playing, and it went well. It went very well. I ended up, and then when I got a scholarship, that's when I kind of thought that maybe I can make it. That's when I got the smallest amount of maybe I can do it. But then the biggest thing that really made me want to make it, somebody told me my freshman year, I came in like, I think I was 6'4", maybe 200 pounds. I had number 95. They gave me number 95. I hated the number 95. I thought I always wanted a single digit number like my whole life. And then somebody came up to me and they were like, well, you ain't gonna make, because they said, what position you play? I said, I play a defensive end. They said, oh, you ain't gonna make it. And that's all I needed. After then, like, I just buckled in. Like, because I was like, I ain't going back because I don't want to be the one person to go back to Timorsville, South Carolina, and they be like, oh, I didn't want that, all the negative stuff that come with people that went to college and didn't make it, and he did this, but he didn't make it. I was like, I want to be the one to make it. And after then, I just focused in on everything. I said, okay, what do you do good? What do you do good? Okay, you're smart at math. Okay, you know angles. You're fast as hell. So I'm running with receivers. I'm playing defense end. I'm running with receivers. I'm running with the DBs. I'm running like with the fast guys. I'm like, look, I know I'm not. I've never been a strong guy. You know, I can run fast into stuff though. So let me do that. I'm just gonna run fast into stuff. You know what I mean? I'm gonna learn the game of football slowly and just run fast into stuff. So every time you see me, I was running fast. I was always trying to be the first person to do this, the first person to do this. I was always trying to be in the front of the line when I'm doing drills and all that stuff through college. And it ended up working. Like the effort I put in was the fear of failure, pretty much. It was a fear of failure. Like I just didn't want to fail. I didn't want to be that guy to come back to my hometown.
There's this I've said it before on the podcast, but you just remind me because you said fear of failure. There's this experiment that they did on mice. And it's gonna sound really stupid, but I promise it'll make sense. They did this experiment on mice, and I'm forgetting the exact setup, but they had like a spring attached to the mouse, and it was this whole thing. And the idea was that they were going to hold up a piece of cheese in front of the mouse and measure how hard the mouse pulls towards the piece of cheese. And then they were going to do the same thing, but instead of cheese, they were going to, put it like a scent of a cat behind the mouse and see how fast the mouse pulls away from the smell of the cat. Which one do you think the mouse, again, I guess, ran faster towards or away from, the cat or the cheese?
Cat, all right.
The cat. So it ran away faster from the cat than it ran towards the cheese because it was more afraid of being caught by the cat than it was, getting this reward of cheese. And so the question from that, it kind of begs the question, like, I feel like we all in life have things that rather running away from or running towards, right? Like we have certain goals in life that we want to run towards, but we also have things that we're running away from. And it's often the things that we're running away from that are way more powerful than the things that we're running towards. For you, it seems like you were running away from, I don't want to go back to my small town in South Carolina and have people ridicule me and say, hey, you failed.
And that's
powerful.
That's what I think my problem. But that's what I think my problem was in NFL. When I got ridiculed, I couldn't run anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, and then I got a fear of success because I found out the more success you have, the harder it is to fall. You know, like when I was doing good in New York and I was doing all, then I had a DUI, and it was like everybody just turned on me. Like they just made me this bad guy. I was 25 years old, 24, something like that. And the way it happened, it was just like, dude, like I don't want this anymore. Like, if I gotta, like I was always up here, now I'm all the way down here, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't like that kind of thing. So I think the rest of my career, I kind of shied away from being in the light. I shied away from, which I shouldn't have, because I wasn't a bad person. I just made a bad mistake. And if I had someone around me to tell me, like, keep doing what you're doing, keep being a great person that you are, keep being a great player, keep talking about yourself, talk to the media, do this thing. Don't make people think that you're automatic, because they're going to make their own story, and that's exactly what they did. But like even with my kids now, I tell my daughters, like, they do something, go back to school. Well, Dad, this happened. I'm so embarrassed. You got to live through that embarrassment, baby. We ain't hiding. That happened. Don't hide. Like, just go out there and make them show you that you even better today than you was the day that you messed up, because I went through that. I didn't have that backup person to tell me, like, no, you gotta face this like a man. You need to do this. I just went into a little cave, kind of like stopped talking to the media, did like this, which I should have been like, you know what, I made a mistake. Apologize. Now I'm come out here and kick everybody's ass. I'm gonna be the best player that y'all seen out here. That's what I should have did. But also, this is all of our first life. This is my first life. This is my first time going through all this stuff, being in New York. But now I can teach other people. I can teach my daughter. I can teach other people that this is how it's supposed to happen. And you can't get mad at yourself, because if it's something that's not to your knowledge, something you've never been through, you don't have any schooling on it, and you fail or you mess up, keep coming back. Don't shy away from failure. Like, you can't shy away from failure just because, like, there's so many people that have come and got a gold medal or got a silver medal or got a bronze medal, and they all of them probably want to go, but hell, at least they tried. There are a lot of people that can't say they ever won a bronze medal. There are a lot of people say it's silver medals. You got to understand like the aspect of what you really did in life. Some people like me will beat up themselves for what they didn't do. Dang it, I didn't win the Super Bowl. Oh man, I didn't win Player of the Year. Bro, you gave a effing good effort. You gave a heck of an effort trying to get there. There's so many people that have not even got close to anything you're talking about. There's a selective few. And you talking about like even me being 13th all time. I got to remember that's all time. This is as long as the world's been around. Like, dude, and think about like in the world, not saying you're the 13th best player, not even gonna say that at all, but there's 13, that's 13, dude. There are only 12 other people that have more sacks than you. So regardless of what you think, and because sometimes we minimalize ourselves in just the box that we're in, this is a world game, bro. This is the NFL, this is the world. You number 3 all time in caused fumbles in the whole entire world. The billions of people here, if somebody talks about your name, they can say he's number 3 all time in the NFL history of caused fumbles. Can't be mad at that. I cannot be mad at that.
If you could have a 30-minute conversation with rookie year John on the Jets, first year, what would you tell him?
You know, before I said I wouldn't tell him anything, but you know, basically I'll say, remember what you did to get here. And really think about it. Think about where you want to be. Start planning now. Because you know, when you got to college, your plan was to make it to the NFL. Let's change our plan from having fun and relaxing to getting where you want to be. There's a bigger road ahead of you if you start planning like you did before. Remember like what you gained from, and also I would say, take care of you and don't worry about everybody else so much. Don't worry about what people think. Like this is your life. Don't worry if they don't think that. Don't worry about they think you're stingy because you're not giving them this. Let everybody else grow up too. You're growing up. You're 24 years old. You're still growing up. You're 25 years old. You're still growing up. Let everyone around you grow up too. You don't have to take care of this person. They're the same age you are. You don't have to take care of this person. They're the same age you are. Sometimes you are enabling people more than you are helping them. I would tell myself that, and I would tell myself, don't be so hard on yourself. I would literally tell myself that, and I would tell myself also, uh, be genuine in relationships. Be genuine in relationships, and the social anxiety thing. I don't think I could tell myself not to get out of that because I was just so bad, and like I just felt like you know I'm always the odd person now. But I would tell myself you are enough, and you deserve to be here. Like you deserve to be around this guy. You know, you're yes, you got drafted with Brian Urlacher. You deserve to be in the same meetings with Brian Urlacher. You deserve to be around LeVar Arrington. You deserve to be around Courtney Bryant. You deserve to be around all these players because you are a great player also. Don't think just because you started somewhere that that's you now. You actually worked your way to be in the class with these people.
What do you think your goal would have been? Like rookie year, like you said, like, hey, you know, be serious, you know, strive towards something. What do you think that something would have been?
My goal would have been not like I said. I wouldn't have relaxed. I wouldn't relax. I would have pick and choose my people differently. Definitely, because I don't think my career was bad because of me altogether. I think it was because of my choices. I don't think it was me as a person. I think it was just my choices. I chose this guy as an agent when I didn't feel good about it, but also I let other people run my life most. You know, I had my agent doing this. I had another guy doing this. I had this person doing this. Instead of me, you know, I had enough time. Like, and then, you know, they would tell you like, oh, it's your off season, relax, you know, don't worry about this. We'll do this for you. We'll do this. This should have been all the stuff I should have been learning myself. As a man, I see that now. You know, as a man, I should have been like in every financial meeting. As a man, I should have been looking at what kind of house my mom is buying. As a man, I should have been seeing what kind of car I needed. I don't need no 6, 7 cars. At the time, you know, I felt like I didn't know anything about all the other stuff that come with a car, you know, insurance and all this. But as a man, I should have had people around me. John, we're doing this. Look, this is what it's going to cost you for this. This is what I'm cost. If you're trying to be here when you're done, we need you to do this now. I should, but I said it was more of me. I won't put that on people, but it was just me trying to just finally relax. And I shouldn't have relaxed when I was in it. I should have learned more. I think about all the free time I had. Like right now, like I learned how to juggle sign language, piano, doing a little Atlanta live stuff. I just finished college in May. So it's all these kind of stuff that I think about when I was in the league on these off season. All the stuff could have been taken care of. I could have had my own businesses instead of trying to invest in my friends' businesses because I was like hoping to hit it big on one of their things. Like, okay, that's my boy. I'm gonna look out for him, and I want the store to be like, John gave me the money to do this, and now I'm da da da. Didn't work out that way. Like most of them didn't, but also like I said, the criteria I was in, and everybody's not meant to rise with you. That's the mindset that kind of messes a lot of us up. We want everyone to grow with us, and like I said, the fear of failure and the fear of success can be almost as tremendous as according to how you put it. And my fear of success was like I don't want to get too big, and people start saying, "Oh," and I used to hate it. People say, "Oh, you play football, that's why this," or "You play football, that's why this," and I should have been like, "You're damn right, that's why." I used to always like, no, no, people really like, no, I'm like, now being me, yeah, you're damn right. That's why they doing this. Yeah, that's why they like me. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? That's why I wish I would have done it then. I would have told myself to be more confident in what I did and stop letting people, like, I didn't know that people were directly making negative comments at me. I thought they were just like trying to keep me, but I was like, no, that's negative as hell. Oh, just because you play football, that person want to talk to you. Oh, people just, that's fine. Like, that's okay. If that's the reason why this person wants to be around me, that's fine. Like, instead of trying to be like, oh, I don't want people to know I play football. So I don't regret, but I see now I should be proud of what I've done in life.
You at one point said that sacks are more mental than physical.
Yes.
I'm curious if you could expand on that. And then I guess a follow-up question would be, if you had the mentality that you have now back then, are we saying that you are the all-time sacks leader? Like, how much do you think the mental side and just where you were at mentally during your playing career affected your on-the-field performance?
I don't know if I would have got 200, but I would have been well over 150 because I'm like 133 now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was a guy that could have got 10 sacks a year for my career if I would have stayed healthy, and I think I would have stayed healthy if I would have been smarter on keeping my body up. You know what I mean? Like if I would have learned like how to practice, and also how they practice now compared to how we practice is totally different. Like when I got in the league, I didn't really speak up on certain things. Like I didn't say like, "No, I don't want to do this." They told me to do this, I'm doing it. They told me to do this, I'm doing it. They told me to do it. So I didn't really care about my body at the time. I thought I was gonna play 5 years of football, and but saying that I couldn't have been, probably I could have if I could have rearranged like how I did certain things. But also everybody can say that. Like if I knew this is this, I could have started back then. So like I said, for me it's more of like being proud of what I've done and try not to worry about what I could have done. But definitely with the mindset, when I say it's a mental game, look how many different sizes, look how many different frames, look how many different speeds that you see of a good player. But the thing that differentiates that mostly to me is the mindset of the guy. Knowing the game of football, knowing when it's like three receivers on this side, knowing when they're going to slide, protect this way, knowing that what kind of cadence the quarterback has. When I was first got in the league, it was strictly just like trying to outrun the tackle, trying to outrun the tackle, doing the same move over and over and over. It could be like a run play, and I'm 5 yards up the field, leaving a big ass gap. But like starting to knowing and start really realizing, okay, they run the ball. Boom. Now you're playing a run better now, John, because you ain't 5 yards up the field. Boom. You're hitting the guy. You keeping that I guess that gap closed. So it's like stuff like that I'm talking about. Like when you start really knowing the game, you see a lot of players they can do that. Sometimes they get in there younger because not saying they know the game when they're younger, but they're just out physicaling everybody. Then you can kind of see their kind of career kind of going down because that physical mentality is gone now, but they still ain't learned the game. But once you learn the game, oh, everything slows down. When I started learning the game, like literally like staying after meetings and doing stuff like that, the extra stuff to really become a better player. Because I think for me, when I first got in the league, I was just worried about being cool. And the culture in New York was everybody wanted to drink, go out and drink and do all this stuff. So I wanted to be cool. And then when I found out that I can be cool and still play good, and like looking back now, like how I partied the first couple of years in New York, if I would have had focused, like the play that I probably could have been at that level when I was running, like I think I'm 20 some years old, I still probably could run a 4.4 flat then. So I was like really probably one of the best I could have been then, but I didn't have the mentality because I should have been around Curtis Martin more. I should have hung around Chad Pennington more. I should have hung around them guys that saw the bigger light from football compared to just the money and the sport. Like it's a teaching environment.
Yeah, a couple follow-up questions. You talked about learning the game and understanding what's happening on the field. A lot of like what I take away from that is like you're trying to analyze the offense, trying to learn different formations, trying to learn, all right, this tackle likes to block in this manner, so I can do this, or maybe it's a slower guy, so I'll just run around him. What's the balance of like thinking and being intentional about your actions on the field versus just playing strictly based on instincts?
Me personally, I would say 90% is mental and 10% is just, physically, some guys are just strong, but I don't think their careers last as long. Like if you look at these guys that really play in the league for a long time, it's about being smart. Like I don't care what you say, you can see certain guys like, oh, I guess I kind of learned that from watching Brian Cox. Brian Cox wasn't the fastest guy, but when it came to knowing plays and knowing where to go and knowing where to be, even now, you've got like he coaches for the New York Giants now, and every time I talk to him, he just know everything about the football game. He just know everything about it. Slow as hell. Wasn't the strongest guy. Probably had some bad habits here and there, which I picked up on. But when it comes to learning the game, like even with me, like when I was in college, I always thought I got to get faster, I got to get stronger. I got to get faster, I got to get stronger. My coach would tell me the plays, and yeah, I know my play, but I didn't know anybody else's position. I didn't know what the quarterback was doing. Then like you play slower in your mind. Like if you got to sit there and think, and it's kind of like what I asked you to do right before we got on here. I say, hey, bro, can you send me the questions? I want to be prepared. That's a perfect example of right there, like how football is. Like I just want to be prepared. So, and I sent it to you because I'm like, and the old me, like when I was younger, I wouldn't have did it. I would just came on here just rawing it, just be like, you ask me a question, I'm just like, I think that you. So it's like everything is preparation. Like even with you, before you got this, you had to sit there and watch. Like, oh, let's see what John has done. I don't want to come off on John and just be like, well, what did you do? You had how many sacks? You're where? You got to prepare. The same thing with football. You can watch a little film and you can know the guy in front of you, but when you really know the person and you really can connect and you start moving like this, you know where to go for this. So if I throw you an assist of how I talk and you like, oh, this runs right into what we were talking about anyway. Same thing with football. If I can see this play happening, okay, I know they're gonna come back with this play. Oh, I know they're moving this player here. I know this player here. Before I didn't worry about that. All I worried about was what I had to do. When I was younger, it was all about, do I have an inside move, outside move? Do I have an inside move or outside move? Do I have an inside? That was my biggest thing. Just like, I just want to make sure that I got this right. And I used to jump off sides all the time. I used to do certain things when I was younger because I wasn't playing mentally. I was playing like, okay, I need to get a big jump off the ball compared to knowing that this quarterback has a hard count. It's 3rd and 3. They're not going to run this play while you're up the field. It's 4th and 15 or something like that. They're probably going to punt or if they're going to do the play, this is the only play they run on this down. So if you watch my career, and I think the best I've ever played was my 14th year when I got to play outside linebacker again, and I went to Arizona. If you put on the tape from me from my rookie year to that last year, you will see a complete football player in his 14 year because I finally got to play the position that I was drafted at.
You talk about just the amount of preparation that you did, and earlier in this podcast, you were alluding to the recovery and all the things that you had to do in the off season too with your injuries. Can you break down? I mean, I say typical, but what a typical NFL week was like for you, either your time with the Jets or the Falcons. Just like I want the audience to gain an appreciation for like how much work goes into it, like how much film study, how much recovery, how much practice. Like, give us just like a typical week in the NFL for John.
Well, I'll give you a typical older John week.
Perfect.
Younger John Week was just like, like I said, I was just happy. I was just happy to be in the league, man. I was just trying to have a good time. It was no really preparation. It was come to work. I was just happy to get out of work at like 3 to 4 o'clock and have all that free time because in college, it was just like doing all this. So when I got older, when I came to Atlanta, the first thing I did, I got some place that was close to work. I made sure I had a place booked because in New York, I live almost an hour away from the facility. So we used to rush into the facility and try to rush out because it was just like New York traffic and you want to get home before then because if you don't, you'll be in traffic 2, 3 hours. So I got some place right close to the facility. So Mondays, well, I'll start from Wednesdays. Wednesdays was usually for me my easy days. I didn't really practice a lot on Wednesdays. That was more of my preparation mental. So I come in early, treatment, you know, do the day, get everything that my coaches said, listen to all the BS they talking about the teams and yada, yada, yada. Then after meetings over with, I watch practice. I ask my coach as I'm practicing, what's play going to be, da, 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 da. I do my mental notes. I try to prepare myself mentally for who I'm about to play, like who's the tackle. So I do moves in my mind, this move might work, that might work, that, yeah. I talk to the backup tackle and tell him what I need to see this week. That's Wednesday. And then Wednesday night, I come back around 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and I watch film on my own for about 2 hours. I'll sit and watch film because I need to know myself when I'm watching. I need to see like what this player is doing. I need to see what they're doing on this point. I need to see if he throws better this way. I need to see everything. So it's almost mechanical. So my mind knows. So it's just like I'm rehearsing in my mind of what I see or what I see. So when I see it in the game, boom, boom, boom. It be going, they line up here. Oh, okay, they got two backs this way. Oh, they're doing this, boom, boom. So then Thursday is almost the same. Thursday I'm practicing, but Thursday I'm practicing the plays that I haven't seen. I'm telling the coaches now what I've seen in my Wednesday meeting. You know what? When this guy does this, he does this. The tight end might do this. But we need to run the TE stunt or we need an end tackle stunt. We need to do a 3-man stunt on this. All this stuff is there. So Thursday, same thing. Thursday I come back, 8 o'clock at night, by myself, watch some more film. I watch more pass film now. Wednesday was a run film. Now it's the pass film. I tell my guys, my younger guys, you need to do this. This will work. Ray, whoever my coach was at the time, I'm saying Ray Hamilton because that's the guy I remember the most saying, Ray, I think this will work on this. And I think on third down, I can do this. First down, I think I can beat him inside. Ray can tell me, look, I think you could be better on the right side this time. You know what, Ray? I think I'll be better on the left side. I'm going to play the left side. That's my Thursday. Friday, chillax. And treatment every day though. But Friday is like more like I walk through. Fridays for anything that I miss. Talk to my coaches, talk to the offensive coach, see if they know anything. Get to the players that, may not be, I might have problems with. On that Friday, I might not even go through walkthrough and I'll tell my backup, go and get this play. You don't need this play. Because I might have to come out. I already know what time. I know how when I get tired. I know when I need to be adjusted. Get in there and run these plays for me. I get in for like the 2-minute thing, but you get in for this. I need you to do this. I need you to learn this because when I come out of the game, I need you to know how to prepare for this. And then Saturday, totally relaxed, man. If we're traveling, we're doing this. But usually I try to be the first person in the hotel. The hotel starts at like usually 12. We ain't got to check in to like 7, but we have a time from like 12 to 7. But I come in like right at 12. Like Friday night, I would stay in my condo, which was downtown. I would stay here and just relax. Wouldn't go out or nothing like that, but I wouldn't stay in my house that was in Flower Bank. So I come downtown and I just relax. Then I go to work. Saturday we'll come back down. Saturday I would go to the hotel and just rest, like just literally rest all day. Like if they let us in, the earlier they let us in, that's when I get there, and I'll get there early as possible. And I wouldn't think two shits about football. I'll just straight be just. I might watch a movie or something. I might get something good to eat, and then I'd sleep. Go to meetings that night. Go right back and go to sleep. Wake up early in the morning, and if anybody who knows football, the offensive linemen go earlier than anybody else because they have to prepare and do all other kind of stuff, do all that. So I would leave when the offensive linemen leave. Like let's say if a game was at 1 o'clock, let's say we're leaving at 9:30 this morning to get to the thing. I'm like, cool, I'm leaving when y'all leave. I go up there with them, and then I just relax. I go in the straight. We get in the hot tub together. The big hogs be in the hot tub. I'll be in the hot tub and everything. So then I'll lay down. I used to lay down a mat or a towel or something like that, and I used to just lay down and just I got this. I kind of got this from Lou Holtz. He used to always make us like meditate before games or do some stuff like that. Like Imagine yourself floating through the carpet. Your arm is through the carpet. You're through the carpet. You're through the carpet. So I would do that. But and the funny thing is, like, this is the older me now. And then I used to put it on like I'll put on like some Mozart. The older I got, the more I realized like you listen to Mozart, listen to Beethoven, you listen to certain like stuff like that, it'll strengthen your mind and stuff. And I didn't know, I thought they were just on the bull. But trying to listen to all that hip hop and all this getting crunk and I'm sweating and everything for the game, then I'm thinking about killing somebody, then my mind is not thinking about the plays. It's not thinking about all this other stuff. So that would pretty much be my game right there. That would be my week, man. But Sundays were definitely the ish for me. Sundays were the ish, man. It was worth all those days, man. It's like I don't think I like practicing later on in my career more than my beginning of my career. But the older I got, the more I appreciated practicing because it's just like when you're learning, like me learning how to sign language and me like learning the piano or whatever I'm trying to do, even in school. Like it's the stuff you do to get there is what you got to be excited about. And then just doing the game is just like the part of that you show what you're doing. Like when people have to do their piano recitals, you're just showing what you have to do. But the joy's got to come with the preparation. Like the joy's got to start coming there. When you start enjoying and then you start doing a new move, oh, I can do this now, or that's the kind of stuff that we miss sometimes that we like, dude, like I can do a spin move now because I was practicing that. Like it don't just come up in the game. Like you'll see people doing these amazing stuff in games and don't realize practice their ass off to do it.
Do you have a favorite city to travel to?
Huh?
Do you have a favorite city to travel to?
Uh, Not really. I just like. Well, I ain't gonna lie. I used to like playing New Orleans. Not saying I like traveling there, but I just like playing them because I knew it was gonna be that kind of game. And we
Hmm.
beat New Orleans. Like not saying we beat them a lot when I was here, but when we beat New Orleans, it was just like, yeah, it was the game. It was kind of like in college, it was always Clemson game. Like we played Clemson, that was our big game. We knew everybody. It was like tension in the air, as people say. Like this is bragging rights for the rest of the year. Like we can lose every game, but we beat Saints. We beat Saints twice a year. We're good. So it was always just playing New Orleans. Even coming down here and going to the Dome. Like even though I lived in Atlanta, I can see the new Mercedes Benz right here. Like I used to see like the Dome right here. This was like almost traveling to a city because I lived in Flowery Branch, which is like an hour away. So me driving down here was almost like the same thing, like being like driving to the Dome and coming out and feeling like home and like this is my place to play now. Like it was so exhilarating, and like I said, it is that euphoria of having that is like even when I try to walk on the field now, it's like nothing pops up like it did before. Like when I walked in before, I used to walk on the field like I walk in the Mercedes Benz and I walk on the field like that little spark ain't there no more because I know I ain't gonna be playing on that field. But like it's crazy because the field looks so huge, but when you're on it, it feels so small sometimes. It feels like you can touch the fan here or touch the fan here, and then you see yourself on tape, you like way over here, and like even the experience of watching myself on tape now is just it's like unbelievable. But also you have to believe that you were there for a reason. Like that's the crazy thing is like when I see myself now, I'm like, dude, I couldn't imagine if somebody else was doing that. Like who would have got that sack caused fumble? Like you were there for a reason, bro. You got to be proud of that because look, you did that. That's you. Like, and sometimes it amazes me. Cause I'm like, dude, that was me. Like, dude, I actually did that. Like, wow.
How would you describe the relationship between the city of Atlanta and the Falcons? And I only ask because, listen, Falcons haven't been the
No, I
best.
know exactly why you asked because it makes sense.
Yeah.
And when I got here, it was a little different because you asked me about Mike Vick and the questions. We had Mike Vick, and Mike Vick was probably the biggest celebrity here at the time. So the football team was the ish, coming off a great playoff run. Jim Moore. It was like the football team were the ish, but then that's when the rappers really started to get big. Like in 2005, 2006, we had BMF, we had like Jeezy, T.I. All these names people may not know, but you should know all these guys. All these guys are super fun. But I was here when they first started, when they first was getting like, and think about it, now that's 20 years ago. Like it's 20 years ago. That's
Wow.
when Atlanta and like even like Tyler Perry has a studio here now. So the city is not as in love with the Falcons as they were before. You have some fans that are, always going to be Falcons fans. Like going to the game last week, man, we played Miami and it was just so empty in there. But this is more like an entertainment city now. Like people come here to be entertainers. You have stuff you can do with the phone and stuff. So a football game, until they start winning, it's not going to be exciting like it was when I was here, because we were like the main thing. Like when I got here, we were like the main thing. Like I promise you, everywhere you went, oh man, you the Falcons people. We used to go to the Dome. The Dome would be just jumping. I'm talking about like jumping, man. People doing the Dirty Birds and all that stuff like that. But you have people you have so many people that are from here that still love the Falcons and still represent them. But I think it's just so much other stuff here. Hell, they got all the strip clubs in the world here. So it's so much. It's just so much stuff to do here that people not saying like they're not dealing with mediocrity. I guess you can say they have so much great stuff around. Like they have so much great stuff here in Atlanta to do besides going to a football game. Like even the basketball team is not as great as we want to be. It's not like when Dominique was playing here. So it's tough, and then you have so much other stuff to do here, man. This is an entertainment city now.
It's interesting because I lived in LA and then I'm close to Miami now. And like those are two cities that I would put up with Atlanta in terms, like when you say there's other stuff to do, like, dude, you go to LA and there's events every weekend. You can go to the beach. There's so much shit to do. Miami speaks for itself.
Yes.
You'll get lost in that city if you're not careful.
Easily.
So like I think of those cities and I think of the fan base and I'm like, you know what? And then you look at some of like the more passionate fan bases in the NFL, Green Bay. You look at some of these teams, like even teams that are losing, like Cleveland, that has a passionate fan base.
They ain't got nothing to do though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you gonna do in Green Bay?
They don't got nothing to do, man. But I tell you right now though, when Atlanta wins a Super Bowl, it's gonna be ridiculous. Like when they win a Super Bowl, because I was so hoping in 2012 that I had the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl, because I would have been enshrined here. Like once you do something like that, like trust me, like Michael Vick, the energy he brought, like when they win a Super Bowl here, I don't know who quarterback is, I don't know whoever it is who wins the first one here, they're going to be like literally on replay for the rest of their life. Like look at Jamal Anderson still can walk around here like a god, man, because of him starting the Dirty Bird. It's just all those guys from that Super Bowl team that didn't even win the Super Bowl, they still can walk around like we went to the Super Bowl, fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dan Reeves is a legend here, man. It's just like all kinds of, and I was just hoping that we got to a Super Bowl so I could be etched in a history of something special.
Let's talk about the 2012 game. 49ers Falcons NFC Championship in Atlanta. You're up 17-0. Everything was going right. Julio catches, I think, a long touchdown pass. Offense is clicking. Defense is balling out. What was your mindset going into that game? Like, were you confident, like, oh yeah, we're going to beat the Niners? And just talk to me, like, lead us through like the ebbs and flows of the game. Like, what are you thinking as the game progresses?
This is actually tough. And this is probably something that you didn't know about, but I'm gonna tell you about it. Okay, so we won the NFC South, and our last game we played Tampa. So we were playing Tampa, and look, this game means nothing besides like we're gonna be 14-2 or 13-3, but the game means nothing. Like literally means nothing to our season. We are NFC South champions. We're getting ready for the playoffs. So Mike Smith decides to play all the starters, like the whole game. Like, and I'm looking like, so like, me, like I've been injured before. So I'm nervous the whole game, but I'm out here playing my ass off. I'm playing because like they say, if you try to play soft or something, you end up getting hurt. So I'm playing hard, trying to get off the ball, doing all this. And I end up getting a high ankle sprain. So for me, it was like not a effing game, because I got an LCL when I was in New York. I got sick one time when I played in New York also. So I missed like the playoffs before. I missed playoff for LCL I was like, no, not the play. We got the perfect team now. And it was like in the fourth quarter, I came around, I ended up hitting one of my teammates and getting a high ankle sprain. They said it's supposed to be like a 6-week injury. I tried to come back in like 2 weeks. I had my skin on my ankle was burned off. That's how much treatment I was getting. Like I was getting treatment, trying to get ready to play. So the San Francisco game, I was more worried about I'm not going to be 100%. And I wasn't. But I tried to play, but I couldn't even, I couldn't even play the whole game. Like I came in the game, I kept falling down because I couldn't put no pressure on the thing. So seeing that my team was still winning without me, I was just like, man, I was crying at halftime because I'm finally getting my opportunity. And then just to see all of it just go down like so quick. I was like, what are our offense doing? Like, why are we stop throwing the ball? Like, what is going on? Like, and for me, it was just like, it felt like the scripture of my life, my whole life. Like every time I had, like I said, the fear of failure and the fear of success. Like this is my time to be successful. Like I had 9.5 sacks in New York. I ended up getting the LCL. I was leading the league in sacks at the time. Probable defensive player of the year. I get hurt. I got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. My first year here in Atlanta. First game, 2 sacks, 2 calls, fumbles, like 9 tackles. They put me in the fourth quarter. Game's already over. I got my tape off and everything. I ripped my groin the first year here. And I was going to show off that year because I started off the game just rolling, end up getting hurt. So, and I ended up missing 8 games that year. So my first year in Atlanta wasn't what I expected. And so it was just like every time I had the opportunity to be great, something would come up. Rookie year, 6 games in, 4.5 sacks already, ripped my groin. So it was just like, and then in a game that meant nothing, I got an opportunity to show off in the playoffs finally. They were kind of saving me the whole year. They was like, because I wasn't playing much that year, they was kind of like, we need you for the playoffs. And then, but the final game of the year, you still got me playing in a game that didn't mean anything because we had a week off and I ended up getting hurt. So it was my mind, like when I said I had a hangover from that game for probably 6 years, because the possibility of what my career could have been because they chose to keep me in a game that didn't matter, and how I could have helped my team against San Francisco because we didn't have a pass rush. So, and I was not saying I was, not saying I was the only one, but I was one of the people that like, if you're going to get to the quarterback, it's going to be A. So a lot of stuff went through my head, man. And then I ended up getting cut right after the game. So, it was one of those whirlwind type situations, man. And it was tough, though. But I really thought that was going to be at halftime. And this is the first time that I kind of really just like gave all in. I was like, yeah, I'm finally going to get there. Because usually I'd be like, something's going to happen. And then came back in the game, and it was just like, no, no, no. I was like, okay, well, it is what it is, man.
I'm curious, what was like your I mean, I don't know how much you can say, but just how you approached defending Cap. Because at the time, like the whole read option, him and Russell Wilson, like they were going back and forth. He had a couple big games. Like this whole mobile quarterback thing was kind of new. I'm curious, like from a defensive perspective, like how do you approach a quarterback like that? Now it's pretty common. Like there's a lot of quarterbacks that are mobile, but back then it wasn't as common. So I'm curious, just the mindset of guarding Kaepernick back then.
See, that's what I'm saying. The reason, like, I wasn't in there, I couldn't tell the guys what to do.
Mm.
So you see the big thing that I'm talking about? Like, I was a guy that knew how to rush the pass, but I knew how to tell everybody else to set me up and to set their stuff up. I would have told them to contain him in the pocket. Just contain him. Like, I could have rushed up the field. We hit this guy right here. He wasn't great in the pocket. He won that game because he was able to get out of the pocket and run the ball. I would have told the guys, let's run this stunt, let's run this stunt. Because, Ray Hamilton used to tell me, like, whatever Abe tell y'all do it. You know what I mean? Like, shoot, he said, run that. And I'll come off the sideline. Hey, what that stunt was you ran that time? Or I ran a text that time. Okay, cool. Like, so, but I knew all this. But I knew, like, when I wasn't in there was nobody else to tell them, like, okay, let's run this now, or let's run this, because everybody else is kind of like zoned in. My job was to make sure that we get pressure. So I used to tell the guys, like, what stunts to do. Like, this is stunt we're going to run now. Hey, we're going to run a 3-man stunt here, and I'm going to push Kaepernick right up here because I'm going to run him down and get him. I wasn't in the game. That's what people, like, don't understand about that game. It wasn't just because I didn't play. Like, I'm not talking about sacks. You got to understand, being a leader, and I felt like I was a leader on that D-line, I had to tell those guys the stunts. Because sometimes, Ray will tell me what you think. Shoot, I can beat him inside. I just need Corey to come around and cover me. Because I can beat him inside. Corey cover me. So, boom, I go inside hard. They think they got a short pocket. So he runs this way. Corey come right there, get a sack. That's all the stuff that I'm thinking in my head. Like, they should have ran this. They should have ran that. They should have ran this. So that's how, that was big for me. Because I couldn't bring that presence on the field that they needed.
That's great perspective. I mean, again, as a fan, like watching that, I still remember watching that game. Like, I mean, you don't obviously see that just through your TV, and so just hearing your perspective, like someone who was, there for that and with the team, it's definitely interesting. It's I'll never forget that game Kaepernick had against the Packers in the playoffs, where he ran for like 180 yards or something crazy. Like, it's why isn't it kind of wild? Like thinking back, like the read option nowadays is like a pretty, I mean, I don't want to say basic, but it's a well researched play. A lot of teams run it, and I feel like defenses know how to stop it. But back then, the read option was like, it's like, wait, like what is this? Like, like what do you do here? Like, it's
And
kind of
it's
wild.
the evolution of football. Just like when you think about Steph Curry winning three, it's just the evolution. Now, all these quarterbacks that before they couldn't be quarterbacks are the average quarterback now. A running quarterback is what you have to have now. Like,
Yeah.
back when Michael Vick was in it, they were just like, oh my God, we hate that he runs so much and he shouldn't do this. He's losing games. And now they're like, he can't run. Like having a pocket quarterback is like, oh my God, he's just sitting there like he's not going to be able to do this. Now, it's not even a quality that you think about now. Think about you have a Manning that is mobile. You got a Manning running like opposite plays, and that you can't even like you got a Peyton Manning or no, not Peyton, no Eli, no, not Eli Arch. You have a Manning that you have a somebody named Manning that can run, and it's just amazing to people. Like, oh my God! But looking at the years from Cunningham, from Warren Moon, all these guys back in the day that they would kind of make it. They're not a good quarterback because they run the ball. And think if they could have had these same offenses. Think if they could have had the same opportunities. Like games were literally like not like you just breaking out a play and running. They have a play design for you to be. So a lot of these quarterbacks probably could have been ridiculously athletes, especially Randall Cunningham. You think about Randall Cunningham could have probably been, whoo. And Charlie Ward might have went to play basketball. It's just all these kind of emphasis that we look at now. Even thinking about Terrell Pryor, like some of these guys that didn't get the opportunity to really play quarterback now. Terrell Pryor is nothing but Justin Fields. I'm not saying that's a good example, but you get what I'm saying.
Hey man, he played well this past week. I was actually super happy for Justin, especially like
I
after
was
what the
super.
owner said.
I was so proud. I'm proud of the whole squad. Knowing Aaron Glenn personally and knowing what kind of guy he is. But also, you got to understand that that's a part of the sport. Like everybody's getting to know each other. Like when I talk about the decision making and people talking to you, like let's say if DJ Reed was the person that used to talk to Sauce or tell Sauce certain things in the huddle that could have made Sauce better. Or he could have been somebody to tell Williams a certain thing. Like when I worked with Patrick Peterson, we probably had the best communication I ever had with a cornerback because I had to start learning how to drop and everything. So I used to talk to Pat, like we had a cover too, and I had a back to my side. I told him he take the third and I'll take like the flat. It's like certain things like that. And I was like, that communication that you have, and like let's say the next guy he got might not have that same communication. That's a lot of things that people don't see in football, the communication that you have with people. Like I said with the San Francisco game with me, like my communicating thing was to tell the guys what to do. This is the play we're gonna run, do this. And they didn't have that communication. Not saying that they were bad players, but if you're used to like, let's say, for instance, Ray Lewis. People love Ray Lewis. They're saying how good a player he was, but he put other people in position. I think a big thing, like the big flick I see about Matt Ryan telling them, like, get your foot down, like it's doing stuff like that. Like you see the quarterbacks hollering at people, or you see that they have that different thing that other quarterback might not have because you put a backup in, the backup don't know that that's what Tony has or that's what Julio has or that's what Roddy has. But you see somebody like Matt that has that communication and you're used to hearing like, yo, do it here. For instance, Penix this week. Penix didn't play. They had Kirk Cousins in. They used to hearing certain things that Penix said. They literally showed a receiver doing like this one time after he made a check because they're like, I don't even know what to do. And you had Penix to like make something up or tell him just go straight. Da-da-da. Cousins kind of looked at him, did the same thing, and it's just that communication thing that people don't see on TV that can be the biggest catalyst that we just don't understand about football.
You said you know Aaron Glenn personally. Do you think he's a good fit for New York?
Yeah, we played together.
Do you think he's a good fit for New York?
I think he could be. I think he can be. But like I said, I said this from day one. Give him like 2 or 3 years there. If he fails, then but this first year, you got to understand, man, it's hard taking other people players and trying. It's like me giving you a baseball that I've been throwing for years, or me even trying to give you my computer. Like if I give you my laptop, even if you know how to work a computer, you're like, okay, well this sticks, or I don't know, like I want to play this defense, but Sauce doesn't like this, so you got to learn Sauce. Oh well, Williams, he's the guy, but he don't like doing this, so you got to learn him. So as a coach, you got to learn what coach can talk to this person right, or what this person can do well. And 1 year, sometimes it works good because some coaches fit in and they know exactly the guys. But then, like Aaron, he had to get a new quarterback. You got an O line that's not as and it's just tough, man. That's why I said give him 3 years. 3 years, if he don't do it, kick him out. But I think he deserves like at least another year.
I mean, Dan Campbell, I feel like is a good example of that too. Like someone who
Yeah.
came in,
Yeah.
lost a lot, and is now, regarded as one of the best coaches in the NFL. I do think that there is something to be said about being too harsh on coaches. And I feel like the league does it pretty often where certain head coaches are given too short of a leash, and it's like, you brought this guy in for a reason. Like you saw something in him, like you think he's a leader of men or he knows one side of the ball super well. Like give him some time to develop his guys. And to your point, like actually get his guys. Like don't just give him the other coach's guys. Like,
Yeah.
get his people in there.
But I think also something that we forget about, like in football, we look at stuff that goes on the TV. You understand these people sit in meetings together.
True.
You understand that the talking, like somebody might have said something, and you see these people he might have said, oh no, I got this. It can be one thing that might have pissed off an owner or pissed off something like that. That's the thing that people don't really put into big perspective. Or you can have a meeting room where these people are clicking. Like you can have a meeting room like, oh, why is he keeping his job? But these guys are sitting there having communication. They might have met each other kids. They might know each other personally. So he get a bigger extension than somebody else. And people don't understand that aspect of the game is the biggest part. I've been around coaches that didn't like players and messed up a player career just because he didn't like that man personally. Because the person might have said something in a meeting. Okay, he's not playing this week. Could have been a good player. Could have been. There are a lot of guys that people will not understand, like, why this guy wasn't this or what. I've seen so many times that players were good enough to be in the league, and like you said, the short leash with players that he's a 7th round pick or he's a 5th round pick, but he's better than that person on the 1st round pick, but his opportunity is gone because he doesn't have a relationship with that person. I've seen people come in, get jobs, and I'm like, this guy is not as good as this guy, but they have a relationship with a coach or they have a relationship with one of the people up top. That's just real life situation in NFL that people don't understand.
A couple more questions, John, and I promise I'll let you go. To that point, I had Kyle Sloter on the podcast, backup quarterback for the Vikings, and he was talking a little bit about the politics of the NFL. A lot of the things that you just alluded to. So, like, certain NFL GMs, they draft a guy in the 1st round. Maybe the 7th round pick is better, but if they play the 7th round pick over the 1st round pick, then what does that say about their ability to identify talent and to scout and to do all these things? And then you have contracts, right? Like a certain player is getting paid $40 million a year. If we play the guy that's only getting paid $5 million a year, so like, why do we give this guy $40 million? So there's a lot of politics within the NFL, and I think you alluded to some of it. Like, how much do fans not realize? Like, are we truly just like clueless about some of the things that happen behind closed doors? Because I'll say, like, there's a lot of fan bases where, especially with quarterbacks, they're like, why is this guy starting? This guy's better behind. Like, just start the guy who we all think is better. Like, but to your point, we don't see a lot of those conversations. We don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Exactly. Like, think about it. If like me and you kind of know each other now, and let's say if you meet another athlete and they try to say something, but you're like, well, I'm gonna go to John because I have a little better rapport with him because I already know a little something about him. Exactly. Like, just if you ever had a regular job, there's that rings true in everything, whether it's politics, whether it's anything in life. There's some kind of nepotism going on, whether it's, oh, that's so and so's son, I knew him since he was yay big, let's give him a shot. You know what I mean? Oh, that's so. Look how many NFL players' kids are in the NFL now. It's ridiculous. It's like the NFL, and I ain't saying they're not bad players. I'm not saying they're bad players, but if you look, you like, good God. Like every time I'm looking like, dog, his son play too? His son play? Dang, his son play? It's like, and and not saying they get a super unfair advantage, but they definitely want these guys in the NFL. They want like, okay, that's so and so son. Let's give him a try. You saw Jerry Rice's son had a try. You seen T.O.'s son get a tryout, and it's because their dads were so great. We at least got to get these sons a try. And it might be knocking somebody else's kid not get the opportunity. And sometimes they say, it's always the best person. That's not true. It's just like real life. Like it's a business also. If you're going to all the owners' events, if you're always going to every time, and I tell the guys now, look, if the owner or if somebody asks you to come to an event, don't blow them off. Don't brush them off. Like even the people in the marketing or something like that say, look, we got an event. Be on time, do all this stuff matters. When they need you, they're going to, like, if they need you, they're going to call you like, oh, yeah, oh, he'll do it. It ain't being a do boy. It ain't doing it. It's setting yourself up for later so you have a relationship with these people. You might go out and drink. I don't drink anymore, but you might go out and drink. You might go out and play baseball. Their kids might like your kids. All this stuff matters in this life. Even with football, all this stuff matters. When people have a better family structure, they tend to stay in the NFL a lot longer.
I got a question here for you. I'm sure you have a lot of options, but favorite quarterback to sack? Who is that one guy? And let me tell you, I'm assuming it's Drew Brees, just because Saints, all the things you talked about. I'm assuming that whenever you sack Brees, you're like, hell yeah, I got him. But I'm curious to hear what your answer is.
Any one of them. Like somebody asked me this question before. I don't give a damn who it is. It could be your mama, my aunt, my mom. Like, it could be anybody. I never cared about the quarterback like that. Like my problem was the tackles I was going to. The tackles, tight ends, guards, whoever was trying to stop me from getting to where I need to go. That was my problem. People say you hate quarterbacks. I said, no, I love quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are the reason I get paid so well. Quarterbacks are the reason that I am the guy I am. If they didn't have anything to tackle quarterbacks, I would not have a job. So no, if they started 7-on-7 in NFL or flag football, I would be jobless. So no, I love quarterbacks. I don't want nothing bad to happen to them. If I can touch you and knock you down, I have no problem just knocking. I ain't never wanted to knock a quarterback out the game unless they was really like beating my butt or talking trash. I have no problem just knocking the ball out your hand, getting a sack. I'm good, man. Like any sack from any quarterback, I don't care. Like I promise you, ask anybody if they say, oh, I used to love sacking this guy. So you would rather sack that guy than this guy? I promise you, they would say, no, I ain't saying that. No, I want to sack up. So trust me, it's every last one of mine. Like when you saying want to win a game, I would want to win against the Saints probably more. If they said if you could play like, yeah, it would definitely been the Saints. And it just happened to be their quarterback was Drew Brees, obviously. But I love doing Tampa too. But Tampa had like so many different quarterbacks, but I love getting the sack in that game too.
Yeah, love them all.
It could be. So it could be Commanders. It could be Seattle. I'm like, I didn't care. When I was in Arizona, Seattle was the team that we like didn't like. So I used to love going to Seattle and I get a couple sacks there. But I didn't care who it was. You could throw anybody up there. I'm like, I'm ready. You put the backup quarterback in. I don't care if it's Peyton. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. Like when your career is over, they ain't gonna be like, well, 100 of his sacks was this guy. They're gonna say you got 113 sacks. They ain't said who I got it from. like you're in the Hall of Fame because you sacked that guy 100 times. I'm like, nah, they just like you're in there.
I love that. You heard it here first. John Abraham loves quarterbacks.
Yes, sir.
Put it on a poster. John, in 20 years, if people say your name, what do you want them to say about you? What do you hope they say?
Hopefully they can talk about how I overcame from where I was 5 years ago. Hopefully they can talk about like how he was able to build from what he was, how he was able to become a better person in certain areas of life. Hopefully it can be something that I give back more than I've taken from life. You know what I mean? Like hopefully 20 years from now, my daughters will be doing extraordinary stuff that I can like be happy for, like I can just sit back and be all broken up by then, and then my daughters will be able to talk about stuff they're doing now, and I can feed from that. I would love for like them to be like, oh, well, John Abraham's daughter is doing this. That's one of the things I think with any person that has kids, you want your kids to be better than you. You want your kids to be the thing that people talk about. You know, even the guys that are billionaires or whatever. The end goal is to have that transcend to whoever you're around. So hopefully 20 years football ain't the only thing that me and you can talk about. You call me 20 years from now, I'm like 67, and I guess you're like 38 or something because you're like about 10. So we're able to sit here and talk about. I can talk about some functions I did, or I can talk about some amazing stuff 20 years, and it won't just be all about football.
Yeah, close. I'm 28, but yeah, 10's a good guess. John, last question, man. You have kids. You mentioned you have 4 daughters of your own. Maybe they have already, but if they haven't, if they came up to you and they said, Dad, what's the definition of success? What would you tell them?
Never quitting and trying, and that's what I tell them now. I tell my daughter now, like my daughter plays. I have like it's crazy because I have my 3 oldest daughters are completely different. So, but the spectrum is so far apart. Like I have this super smart daughter, which all my kids are smart, but I have this super smart daughter. She wants to be a nurse. I have my second daughter is just like me. Like she's just pretty. I'm not a good looking guy, but she's just pretty. But she's like sports. She like right now she got a flag football game. Like she plays basketball. She's just like natural athlete and enjoys it. Like she has the passion for it. She loves it, and she's smart also. And my youngest is a total princess, just like a princess, just loves to dance and do all this stuff. And I think all of them are an attribute of something, some part of me. Like all of them are some part of me, so it feels good. But I always tell like my kids, and if you like, this is my oldest daughter's name. So you know, as much as I promote my other kids, I got all kind of jerseys made with my kid's name, or whether it's Jolie, whether it's Ayumi, whether it's Mackenzie. I wear stuff like this to motivate them. Because you see, you got that Iverson jersey, that Raptor jersey, all them jerseys. I want my kids to understand that this can be you. Like, and it doesn't have to be like I'm a fan of you. Like, I want to show my kids that I'm a fan of you. I want my kids to feel like, wow, you know, because a lot of people don't ever get to see this. Like, a lot of people don't get to see it. Like, I have jerseys, and people have worn my jerseys, and the first time I saw it, it was like, and then it was kind of like, oh, okay, person got my jersey now. But I want my kids to have that same feeling because I know how that feels. Even though I know it's just dad, but it's like maybe I guess it'll light something up in their head. Like, wow, my dad believes I can do that. Because I didn't have like a father that would, and my mom didn't come to any of my games. I didn't have like only person I had to really come to my sport events was my girlfriend at the time. That's all I had. I didn't have nobody to say like, you know, you can make it to the NFL. You know, you can do this. You can do anything you want to do. So I always was like not saying scared to do stuff because I like looking back, I was very fearless when it came to a certain thing because many people wouldn't just go to South Carolina and think they're gonna go to the NFL. Like, and I'm thinking about like at the time, like looking back now, I was a dumbass. Like thinking that I could make it to the NFL coming from like I graduated with 43 people, man. The high school football team had 22 guys on it. I'm like, I was in band, track, and basketball. And I'm looking like, what the heck was I thinking? You know, like now, like looking back, I'm like, bro, you got to stop being so hard on yourself because you did the unthinkable. Like you literally, but you know, so I would tell them that. And I would tell them to try. And I try to get all my kids doing stuff. But I'm like, I be trying to teach my little one sign language. She be like, nah. But I'm aggravating. I'm aggravating now. Like my daughter, like she plays sports and sometimes she want to do this. And I'm like, look, try this. Try this. Nah, Dad, I ain't gonna be good at that. So I'm like, are you going to be mad like years from now you didn't do it? Like even me graduating college, I want to show my daughters that anything that you put your mind to, you can do. Because, you know, my oldest daughter was like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I'm the first one in the house that graduated college and kept trying to like throw it in my face. I was like, all right, I got something for you. So I went ahead and graduated. So now, you know, we can talk a little trash back and forth. So that is what I'll tell my kids. And one thing, and not even tell them, I show them I'm your biggest fan. Like I am a fan of you. Like if I wasn't your father, I still be a fan, but I am I am the guy, because I knew how it felt like not having a fan, like coming home and you're having a great game and having nobody to like explode to. You just had 3 sacks or you just scored 20 points. Like coming home and just like nobody wants to hear it. And like even my mom didn't even know I was good at sports. My mom didn't even know I was good at basketball. She didn't know I was like when I told her I was getting a scholarship to play football, she was like, "Why didn't you get a scholarship?" She didn't even know how good I was. I think the first time she knew I was good is when because I only played 1 year and we had to go to a banquet, and I got Player of the Year for the banquet, and I think that's when she kind of knew like, oh, he was good at it. But also if you have high expectations for your kids, you don't think it's like something amazing. You kind of like, oh, okay. So she didn't know anything about the NFL. She came to a few college games. That's when she started kind of really paying attention to it. Then I went to the NFL and I went super high, like super high. I don't know if my mom just thought it was supposed to be, and she didn't really realize how amazing it was until I got in the league and everybody started telling her like, "Oh, your son did, your son." That's when she started kind of like, "Oh." But even to the day, she'll say the proudest that she's ever been is when I stopped drinking and when I started doing this journey. She said this is probably the proudest she's ever been to me as a man, and I can appreciate that because I see where she's coming from.
That's a beautiful perspective, man. I was actually going to ask you about the jersey because I noticed it and I was like, I don't recognize that team, but that's that's awesome,
I
man.
had my other daughter. I had my other daughter jersey on, but I took it off and I put this one on. But I just got this one, and she's in school, so I haven't seen her in a little while. So I'm gonna send her this video or whatever. She can be like, "Oh, I see you got my name on it." Yeah. So trust me, I got a lot of them. I got so many jerseys and stuff though. It's ridiculous.
Love it. John, this has been amazing, man. I mean, you gave me an hour and 45 minutes of your time, and I can't be I just super grateful for not only meeting you, but hearing your story, hearing your journey. I know we touched on it a little bit and talked a lot of NFL and a lot of football, and you gave us a great perspective on what it was like to be in the league again as fans. One of the things I hope to do with this podcast is kind of bridge that gap between athlete and fan. And there's a ton of podcasts now, especially player podcasts, that try to do that too. But I try to go beyond just what's on the field. Like who is John as a person? Like what are his values? How does he define success? Like how does he view the world? Because I think so many athletes have so many different perspectives, and when you really dive into everyone's journey, like you came from a small town in South Carolina, like that's crazy to me. Like I grew up in the Bay Area, right? Like two completely different sides of the United
Yeah,
States.
definitely.
Like wild. So like your perspective on life, I'm sure, is a lot different than mine, but we also share a lot of similarities. So it's just super cool to hear you talk about it and talk about your journey through the NFL. Before we sign off, man, anything you want to plug? Where can people find you and more of your work?
Oh, shit. What is it? J.Abraham55 on Instagram, Facebook. John Abraham. You can find me if you want to. Right now, I'm headed to Berlin in a few days to see the Falcons. Working. I work with 11 Alive. And I'm going to start a foundation soon. But I wanted to make sure I was 100% all right. I wanted to make sure everything was good before I do anything. But I'll get back to you on that. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's cool. I don't post a lot, but when I post, it's usually about football or the kids.
Love it, man. Love it. And I'd love to have you back on and talk more about just like your journey and upbringing and all that good stuff. Cause like I said, from reading and I'll put the link in the show notes, the athletic story. It's just fantastic. Just highlighting like who you are and what you've been through. I think is super inspiring. It was for me. So John, man, can't thank you enough for your time. Thanks for coming on. Wish you all the best, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch.
Appreciate it.